So you're ready to return to the paid workforce after your career break. And you know you have done a lot over the past few months, even years, but you're afraid that potential employers are going to see your gap as a liability rather than an asset. Don't worry. By the end of this video, you're not only going to have filled the dreaded resume gap, you're going to be proud of what it says. And we're going to use AI to do it. So let's hop on over to ChatGPT. One of the most frustrating things about returning to the paid workforce after a career break is what to put on your resume. Well, this is where we are going to start with ChatGPT. We are going to do some brainstorming. So I have already created a prompt. All we are going to do is we are going to enter specific information. And in this prompt, anywhere where you see brackets, that is where you're going to enter your specific circumstances. So let's go ahead and walk through this together. Like I said, this first prompt is all about brainstorming. So you don't even really have to think about how's this gonna look or am I using the right words? All you're doing is writing everything that you've been doing down and letting AI do the heavy lifting. So let's take a look at this prompt. I took a X year break. Let's just go ahead and say a 3-year break to, and then you're going to list what you took the break for. And I know the word break is ridiculous because a lot of the time it's not a break. You are still working, you're just not getting paid for it. So in this example, we're gonna go ahead and say I took a 3-year break to stay at home with my son. And then here's where you are going to list everything that you've been doing. Now, I don't want you to think, well, that's not important, I shouldn't list it here. Go ahead and list everything. So I'm just going to give some examples, not going to be super in detail, but this is just so you can see how it works. So let's come up with 3 things. One, advocated for my son's medical issues. 2, volunteered at my church to lead a mom's group of over 20 women. And you know what, for fun, and I did do this, I'm going to say I was a contestant on Wheel of Fortune. Obviously, yours is going to be much more robust, but this is just for an example and to get the ball rolling. Okay, so now I'm targeting roles in, let's go ahead and say, as an executive assistant. Acting as a professional career coach, help me identify transferable skills and experiences that would apply to, and if you have just the industry rather than a specific position, that is okay too. But we are going to just put executive assistant position. And then we're going to let it know that you would like it in table format to summarize what you did and to list the skills and how they relate to the executive assistant role. And of course, I always recommend adding ask me any clarifying questions before proceeding with this request. Now let's go ahead and see what it gives back to us. And this is perfect because it is asking those clarifying questions, which will give it that much more specificity when you do get your output. So let's go ahead and do some brief answering. Let's go ahead and say all of the above for my son's medical issues. 2, yes, let's say I was for scheduling, communications, sorry, my spelling is off right now, but you know what? It's okay. Communications, organizing, and let's just say facilitating. Okay, Wheel of Fortune contestants. Besides a fun and unique fact, yes, it definitely used public speaking. Quick thinking for sure. And storytelling through interviews with local media. Okay, EA roles. Ooh, this is a good one. Let's go C-suites and education. Okay. So now it's going to break down the table format, which I have requested based on the answers that I gave it. And like I said, yours is probably going to be way more robust than this, but this is just for you to see how it all works. So great. It took the activity that we did, and then it is labeling that skill. And I think this is the key part. So often when you are in it, when you're in the nitty gritty of a career break, especially when you're caring for somebody else, you can't really see how what you're doing day in and day out ties to a paid position. But almost always there's going to be overlap. And this is so objective because, well, AI is, just a machine. And so it doesn't have buy-in to make you feel better. Like, oh, yeah, no, that's actually really helpful. No, this is telling you this transfers into this skill for a paid position. So when we take a look at it, we see we have project management, communication, leadership, scheduling, event planning, meeting coordination, communications, public speaking, discretion, emotional intelligence. All of this is so important specifically to an executive assistant role. So if you're ever doubting that what you have been doing has relevance to the paid workforce, don't, because it really does. So now that we've done the brainstorming, is asking if we would like to craft a resume bullet point from this. And we do. So we could just type yes, create a resume bullet point, but we want our prompts to be even more specific. So I have created one, which we are going to go ahead and copy and paste into there. So we're asking it to say, hey, based on the skills we identified, and then acting as a professional resume writer, write 3 to 5 resume bullet points that I can use for an EA role. Use a professional tone and action-oriented language. If there is an opportunity for quantifiable data, please suggest 3 ways to incorporate it. And I like to do this because we might not think off the top of our heads like, oh yes, this is quantifiable, but there's a lot of opportunities for our experience to be quantified. And when you do that in your resume, this is where you are going to show your impact rather than just tell what you have been doing. And of course, I'm always going to say, hey, ask me any clarifying questions. And great, it is asking me some more questions to get those more specific data-driven points. Okay, so let's go through this. So we did meet weekly for 3 months, and I did this for 3 years. I planned special events such as the end of season dinner and family picnic, and sent weekly communication emails and managed WhatsApp group. Okay, 2, I would say 5, and Google Calendar. And then 3, I did 2, and it was personal. Okay. So now that we have given it this information, we are going to get back some resume bullet points. And I do want to point this out. When you are creating bullet points for specifically your career gap, really you're only going to need 2 or 3. You're not going to need to deep dive. The whole point is that the employer or potential employer wants to see that you've been doing something. And this could be classes that you've taken. It could be courses that you've taken like in AI that have been online, but you've maybe received a certification for. We didn't put all of this into that, but I just want you to really think about everything that you've been doing, because I guarantee there is a lot there that you can find 2 to 3 bullet points from. So now looking at what this says, it has listed each of the bullet points, but then it is awesome because it's saying, here's how you can quantify that even further. So when you do that, you can go back and forth and you can say, oh, well, yes, here's what I did in regards to the number of meetings or how I handled this budget. And when you do that, it'll then go ahead and clarify even more. But because we want to move on, we are going to leave this, and you can actually, totally run with this. But I want to now address the summary section at the top of a resume. So now we're going to pivot to that, and we're going to go ahead and give it its third and final prompt. And that is acting as a professional resume writer. Write a 3-sentence summary for someone returning to work after a 3-year break. It should highlight my transferable skills, show confidence, and position the break as a positive. Target role, EA. Avoid generic terminology such as go-getter or detail-oriented. Lean into a warm, confident, and professional tone. Provide 3 variations. I love doing this because you want to see different types that you can choose from. And then also, as always, ask me clarifying questions before proceeding with the request. And I do want to say, if you already have a specific job description in mind, you can definitely feed it to AI and ask it to customize it for that job description. We're just basing this on like, hey, we're just getting started and we want something to work from when we do apply. So at this point, it is going to be generic, but I always say tailor, tailor, tailor to the specific job description. Okay, let's see what it gives back. Ooh, more questions, which I love. Okay, so what was I doing before that? I worked in HR and let's just say I worked as an event coordinator. Number 2, what tools or systems? Okay, let's say, yes, Office, Workspace, and then there was some, HRIS systems that will leave. Okay, what drew you? Okay, I love keeping things organized. And 4, yes, open to all. Okay. And once we answer it, it will give us 3 different variations to choose from. And like I said, you can play with this and figure out what you are most comfortable with, what reflects your tone. But of course, tailor once you have that specific job description. So there you go. You now have a wonderful starting point on how to address your career gap in your resume. Not only did you take the pressure off of yourself to create it from scratch, but you have a partner to figure out ways to incorporate quantifiable data to create impactful statements that are going to get noticed. And if you would like a deeper dive into how to specifically tailor your resume for a specific position, you're going to want to check out my video here.